Welcome to the IKF Partners Podcast special, where we explore bold ideas shaping the future of Indian football. Today, we turn the spotlight on IKF Career 360, a groundbreaking initiative by India Khelo Football that goes beyond scouting talent. It builds careers. IKF 360 is designed to empower not just aspiring footballers but also their families, offering a much needed safety net for parents who support their child's dream. Because even if a player doesn't turn professional, there is still a place for them in the game as a coach, analyst, physio, administrator, media professional, and more. This isn't just about chasing contracts, it's about creating credible, purpose driven pathways within football, backed by expert mentorship, real world exposure, and structured guidance. At its core, IKF Career 360 is redefining success in Indian football. It ensures that every child and every parent can dream boldly, knowing that football can still be a lifelong opportunity, not just a short lived ambition. Thank you very much. Welcome to the IKF Partners Podcast special, where we explore bold ideas shaping the future of Indian football. Today, we turn the spotlight on IKF Career 360, a groundbreaking initiative by India Khelo Football that goes beyond scouting talent. It builds careers. IKF 360 is designed to empower not just aspiring footballers but also their families, offering a much needed safety net for parents who support their child's dream. Because even if a player doesn't turn professional, there is still a place for them in the game as a coach, analyst, physio, administrator, media professional, and more. This isn't just about chasing contracts, it's about creating credible, purpose driven pathways within football, backed by expert mentorship, real world exposure, and structured guidance. At its core, IKF Career 360 is redefining success in Indian football. It ensures that every child and every parent can dream boldly, knowing that football can still be a lifelong opportunity, not just a short lived ambition. Thank you very much. Welcome to IKF Partners Podcast, where we spotlight changemakers shaping the future of Indian football. Today, we have Mr. Mahesh Rao, founder, and Mr. Sanju Nair, director of Pros Edu, a pioneering platform blending sports and education. Mr. Rao and Mr. Nair, thank you for joining us. Before we dive in, can you share a bit about your journey? What inspired you to start Pros Edu and focus on the unique needs of young athletes?
Uh, well, it all started as an experiment way back in 16, 17, and started learning, wanting to learn golf. So it all
Hmm.
emerged on a golf course
Oh,
where there was a need for the combination of what we call today sports and education. Some of the kids, at least on the golf course, were struggling to uh, fight between being a professional golfer and wanting to manage their school time because golf is played during the day
yeah.
and school also is at the daytime. So the structure did not allow them to pursue their professional sports. And I thank my coach and my mentor, who actually was instrumental in this idea, and he was struggling, Mr. Tarun Sardesai, who believed that uh, you should. It's high time that we move a school into the playground. And here, these four kids whom he believed are going to be pros were struggling to do the two. And there came an idea of wanting to have a unique education system on the golf course, and we experimented that. And of course, after experimentation, a good amount of research went into figuring out as to how we can build an alternative. So the to just write what we call as a statement that we need to address. I would never call it a problem statement. A statement that's to be addressed is in India, in the quest of wanting to play professional sports, most of the kids, I just said most of the kids, it's not that all, most of the kids find academics very difficult for
Right.
various reasons.
Right.
be it a schooling system, be it a curriculum, be it the timing, be it the subject selection, be it many reasons. I mean, it's just that a combination of many things that we have, basically more humanities than the STEM subjects. So they struggle, and academics, they find academics as a very difficult subject. And in the compulsion which an Indian uh, parent want their kid to finish their 10th and 12th, the compulsion to finish 10th and 12th, which is also the primary age for
Yeah.
sports. That is where the sports kid actually try, show their talent, hone their talents, exhibit their talents, show whether they can become, they're the similar age. So in the compulsion to finish 10th and 12th, most of these kids give up sports. We believe that this could be one of the reasons that India is yet to be a sporting nation, amongst others. I am
That's
not
true.
saying this is only one of the reasons that. So we actually came up with a solution, saying that why don't we make this profound statement that it's not sports or education. We said let's form this thought process that sports is education, and then
Absolutely.
work towards that. And we seem to have found some solution uh, to balance the two. And that's how, in after COVID with NEP and the COVID happening, we structured, and thanks to Sanju and Kishore Shanbhag, who is not here with us, all three of us got together. And I think we formalized a good system that not only helps, it's multiple benefit for many. In fact, it's just not the students, parents, schooling system, the sporting industry. It benefits multiple stakeholders once you have an education piece. So here we are moving a school into the playground and trying to find a solution. That's how it all started.
Thank you very much for that fantastic introduction. I think it really makes sense, and education is definitely very, very important, essential for any athlete or a sports person. So, coming back to the challenge, I'll probably go to Mr. Nair this time. In India, many talented young footballers and athletes often have to choose between their passion for sports and their academics. What do you think? Why this is a such a persistent problem?
See, what happens in India is primarily being a middle class, majorly the middle class playing the major part of the sports, and the lower middle class or the grassroots,
Yeah.
where the children are naturally athletic in nature. So the insecurity feeling is very high among the parenting group,
Hmm.
right? So there they feel that what will happen to my child if he takes up sports as a career? So will he make it? What is the success rate in sports? What if he doesn't make it, right? And if he tends to be successful, what would be his career, right?
Yeah.
Duration? Will he
Yeah.
be able to play longer, or will it be only 2 or 3 years? If he gets injured, what will happen to my child's career? So a lot of questions are, which are creating the mental blockage in the parenting mindset, right? So that's where pursuing sports seriously, right, along, taking the risk of education is becoming a mental block for the
Yeah.
parents. And we see that a lot of children drop out of serious sports over a period.
Absolutely.
So that's where pros education, we looked at this problem statement, and we know without the middle class and the grassroots, the Indian
Right.
sports is going to head anywhere, right? So that's where that required a serious solution. And this is what pros education we are trying to do is predominantly educate the parents, do a lot of counseling to remove these fear factors and help them understand how their child can balance sports and education, and how education can become a backup
Right.
plan, an insurance certificate for their child's future.
Yeah. I think really makes sense. And I have a follow-up question. Given this is a game changer program addressing this specific challenge, what makes your approach different from traditional schooling? I mean, there are a lot of schools which are trying to do this focus on the sports. So how do you set yourself differently from these traditional schooling?
So what has happened, Siddharth, is basically our entire approach started with a research activity, right?
Okay.
So when we decided that we are going to build a solution for these children who are into serious sports, we also decided that we have to study their day-to-day life and their pattern, because no ready-made education system is not going to really work for these children. So our research started by following their daily patterns, right? So
Right.
what time do they have their training, skill trainings? What time do they have their fitness training? What time do they have their nutrition and psychology sessions?
Yeah.
And how much time do they require for body recovery and rest? Right. So, and what is their travel patterns? What is the tournament patterns? And how does this vary between no sport to sport? For example, a pattern which followed in football, maybe it will be entirely different for a sport like tennis or a golf or a cricket, right? So, which is cricket is being a popular sport also in our country. The pattern changes between a football to a cricket to a badminton or any other sport. So this required a model of schooling which accommodates the majority of children.
Right.
And again, we found that the pattern varies between a high performer and somebody who is trying to start his career in active sports. So we have to accommodate those requirements as well. So if you look at the structure of close education, it all starts with counseling the children, understanding their sporting patterns. Then we recommend the right kind of subject combinations which they can pick it up for their classes, and then help them get enrolled into a suitable class timing which works for them.
Hmm.
So we have a morning batch, we have an afternoon batch, we have an evening batch. So whichever is suitable for these children, we enroll them into those specific batches. And we also have something called hop in, hop out classes, where these high performers who don't fit into any of the batches, they get the entire day's timetable opened up so that they form their schedules and they follow their pattern and complete the classes. And we also have bridge classes for these children if they miss out, because obviously they will miss out classes during their tournaments, right? And their camps and all those. So we do a lot of bridge sessions for them. We send recorded videos, short recorded videos
Hmm.
for their study. So a lot of these things has been built in such a way that the children don't miss out on their learning,
Yeah.
because like they require daily practice of sports, they also require the minimum amount of learning which has to happen on a daily basis. And thanks to the model of online which we designed, so they can attend the classes, access materials wherever they are. So
Right.
they never miss out on their school, rather the school travels with them wherever
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah. I think that's quite interesting. And now I'll quickly ask Mr. Rao that football is a very big topic these days, especially grassroots football. And I understand how now a young footballer can balance his training, his tournament, and studies. Do you have a story, real life example of a young footballer who has benefited from this particular model?
See, we're basically pros education is in about 8 or 9 sports. The education system is definitely helping these athletes to complete their education, correct?
Yeah.
And a good amount of work has been done
Yeah.
that addresses different sports in terms of how they can finish their 10th and 12th.
Yeah.
That means in terms of curation of their subjects or whatever required. But I know particularly about football, and we were doing a good amount of research on football, and football in particularly, it recalls me of somebody who said that, you know, astronomy and sports um, are truly a humbling and a character building exercise. Uh, because in sports, we know that you're either a learner or a winner, correct?
Yeah.
There is a no third word. That's only in the
Yeah.
mind. And football, in particularly, we believe that it has got one character building exercise, which not only is required for the sport, but I think even for a nation building exercise. And the simple work is teamwork and team spirit. And
Right.
I think that one word can help build that character.
Right.
Correct? And if that gets imbibed, so when we talk to our teachers, we look at each sport and what that each sport can bring into that person character building exercise.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah.
Because end of the day, education is just a process of learning. I'm sure both of us don't remember what we did in 10th, our history and geography. I'm sure we must have mugged the whole night. But what it did to us is helped us the process of learning,
Yeah.
and then that actually helps us to go forward in life, right? We miss on this primitive age, and then you so for us football is one a great sport which we actually imbibe. In fact, we also recommend other sports kids to take up football when like the golfers, we say play a little bit of football because that will give you that spirit of teamwork and the team spirit.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So for us, every sport teaches the other sport, and
True.
being a multiple sport along with education, along with imbibing spirit, which will actually help them to build their career. Because end of the day, let's accept that less than 1% make it to professional sport,
Absolutely.
but 99 actually need to go through this process to build their career. It may be for it definitely for learning, but certainly for their roadmap and their future, which they have about after they quit sports at 30, they have 40 years to live. So all these values help us to build them as individuals, and that is the greatest example, I say. That is something that we are working hard towards imbibe in our school.
Thank you. Thank
Just
you, sir,
to
for that insight. And I have a now follow-up.
add on, Siddharth,
So,
just to add on to what Mr. Mahesh said, I have this example of
hmm,
the boy Laldrim, right?
okay.
He's Ram,
Hmm,
and he was talent hunted by no one of the scouting agencies like IKF, and the boy got an opportunity to be part of the FC Madras club. And when he came into our education system, he was in grade 7,
hmm.
and since then we had been educating the boy. His schooling system has been driven by pros education, and last year the boy got selected for AAFF national
Wow.
team, and now currently is practicing out of Bhubaneswar. But the great part is his education never stopped.
Never stop. Yes. I think.
He continued attending classes from the AFF camp in Bhubaneswar. And the AFF officials, they called up our team and asked, like this, we see this boy attending classes. How is it possible? How are you people? And in fact, they said, we have a lot more students who need such help. Can you send a proposal out to us? So this is one case study where we feel proud that see the boy has come from grassroots
Yeah,
and his life changed. Football changed his life, and we have secured his education. So showing him the pathway right forward in the world of football. We don't know how long he's going to play and how successful he will be in the future, but still we are sure that we are backing him throughout.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic story and inspiration for several others to follow. And if AIFF is seeing some potential, there is something really happening. So I'm sure we will be experiencing a lot of such success stories. This is just the start. I think maybe in a couple of years you will get more and more collaboration, more success stories. So it's really great insight. I think that you put here. Coming to the collaboration part with coaches and academies. I'm not just talking about the football now, I'm just talking about sports in general. What are your great partnerships with other academies and coaches where you saw, okay, this can be leading to something good, just like the example that you gave now?
so, Mahesh, you want to take it up
Go
or?
ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, partnership, see, we at Pros Education strongly believe that the entire model doesn't work until we work hand in hand with the coaches and the academies. So, our entire objective is to convert the sporting academy into a Gurukul. So, that's
Hmm.
what we are trying to achieve. And our vision statement also says we want to take schooling to every playground in this country. So, With that in mind, we had been going around making partnerships with academies. So one of the premium sporting academies in the country, which many would have heard, is Center for Sports Excellence, which is
Hmm.
also known as Dravid Padukone
Yeah.
Academies. We are a part of that ecosystem. Like we have multiple sports, 6 to 7 sports there. And as an education partner, Pros Education has been there for more than 3 years now. We have a study center where the children come and join online classes in a monitored environment out of that center. So we have footballers, we have badminton players, we have swimmers, we have cricketers, right? And basketball players, all of them coming together into a single classroom,
Hmm.
right? And they join the online classes. And we are very happy to say that we are securing all their education quite well. And same way, the other successful partnerships, if I have to name few, one is Just Cricket Academy, which is a premium cricket academy in our country. And we had been servicing them from 2018. And recent under 19 women's cricket team, which won the World Cup. The captain of the team, Nikki Prasad, was a student. We are proud to say that she was a student of Just Cricket, and also she passed out of Pros Education system. And then comes FC Madras, which is one of the premium football academies where we have a very strong partnership. And we had been servicing them from for last 3 years. All the footballers, grassroots footballers, they undergo their education with us. And on similar lines, we have much more partnerships. Like in golf, it is Tarun Sardesai, and we work with KIOC Cricket Academy. We work with Omtix Cricket Academy. We have recently signed up ARA in Ahmedabad, which is the ARA
Hmm.
club.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are going to service those children and much more in pipeline. So if you look at football alone, we work with 4 to 5 clubs,
Yeah.
which includes Baichang Bhutia
Hmm.
Academy, BBFS, and we work with Alchemy, we work with SUFC, we work with FC Madras, and we are now trying to reach out to more clubs.
Yeah.
And trying to see how we can be helpful to these grassroots children in their education.
Interesting, quite interesting. Now let's come back to the holistic development and future pathways. So you mentioned that you are working on the holistic development of an athlete. So how does I visualize this holistic development? How does a athlete or his or her parents visualize this in collaboration with your support?
So, see, overall development, when we speak about Siddharth, it's like we divide these athletes into two categories. Like one
Hmm.
is from the grassroots,
Yeah.
their requirements are entirely different to those who come from the affordable background where their exposures and their the kind of lifestyle they come from is entirely different, right? So what we work entirely differently for both these categories. One
Hmm.
is, if I have to speak about grassroots children, we have found that these grassroots children, uh, they have been talent hunted, so it's a life changer for them. So now football is taking them to a next level in their life, and now to represent India in a global scenario, they
Hmm.
have build up a lot of skills.
Yeah.
One being able to communicate in a foreign language like English, being
Yeah.
confident in foreign language like English. Their interpersonal skills have to be worked on because they have to not only play with their other team members, but also confident. They should be confident enough to speak to anybody who, because they have to face the media, they have to
Yeah.
face,
Yeah.
right?
True.
Brand people, a lot of things
Yeah.
come their way in their life. So their confidence level has to be worked on, right? So decision making abilities. So a lot of things which actually changes their personality as a
Yeah.
sports person and help them to represent themselves in the global scenario. That's what we focus. So we do a lot of activities around this. We do pick and speak activities for them. We give fictitious scenarios saying that no, you are part of Liverpool club, which has won a tournament. Now you
Yeah.
are presenting your team and you have to speak for no 5 minutes, right? So even if there's a mistake, it's okay. So they have to
Yeah.
speak. So they can speak. A lot of
Right.
such activities are inbuilt to build their additional skill sets.
Exactly.
And also, we do a lot of mentoring for these children to improve their confidence levels. So, right. So, once they have to speak, they have to represent themselves without any, inhibitions. So,
Right.
to remove that, they need a lot of personal counseling, which also we bring in through our mentor teachers, right? So, we have a mentoring system through which every child gets a mentor, and
Yeah.
it's a group of children. So these mentors speak to them on a basis and try to work on these aspects of these children.
Yeah. I think, like Mr. Rao mentioned, that not every player can become a professional athlete, or also funny sir from IKF says that not everyone can become a Messi. So whatever you're providing, the curriculum that providing, make sure that the athlete has different opportunities coming along, even if he or she couldn't make it to the professional level. Maybe they can go to sports media, maybe they can get into coaching, or maybe they can become the part of sports marketing team, things like that, or an analyst. So with your curriculum, I guess they are going to explore these opportunities.
Just to add, I think the most important part of our counseling, it's of course very, very much applicable to the sporting industry, uh, is one that it's important to realize there are 25 alphabets after A. Not many people see that in life. I'm
True.
not saying you should not be a player. I'm not saying you should not be a professional. We all wish you. But if we can imbibe this thought process
Yeah.
that there are 25 alphabets after A, and maybe Z is what suits you, or
True.
you can reach your peak or Himalaya, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is that's important as a counselor. We all get fixed.
Yeah.
And when we don't tend to do well in one, what we tend to lose is basically the self esteem, especially in sports, where uh, once you become, you're suboptimal. I'll never use the word, I reiterate, I'm only using it now. I never use the word failure because for me or for us, a sports kid mind neuron works as much as probably a scientist. And it's not what I'm trying to tell you, because in a fraction of a second, you take a call, whether it's
Yeah.
in badminton or football,
Yeah.
or whether it is on a football, the 2002 famous football where analytics was what the issue was, and then the whole system changed, and the whole football team works on a fraction of a second in terms of how you can move and
Yeah.
form a team, right?
Yeah.
So your neurons work very well. So the point I'm trying to tell is you can always build your A objective, no problem. But you also have an opportunity to do many more things if that doesn't work out.
True.
If you're suboptimal. So I've used the word because they're basically a brilliant kids and they can excel wherever they go. Yes, sometimes in a normal traditional school, because they don't fit into certain subjects. For
Yeah.
example, most of our subject we do respect. I'm not here to bring the system down. Our education system has done well. Our schooling has done well. That's why we have many CEOs in the top Fortune 500. But what about the humanities? The entire education system don't take care of humanities, correct?
True.
And these kids, if they were to study chemistry or biology, which may not be relevant for their career, they tend to believe that they're not doing well or
Yeah.
they're failures in that system. I think that is where in the counseling system we are really trying to tell that there are 25 alphabets after A. There are many careers that you can build, and we help them to curate subjects based on what they want to build their career on, and that is how the match happens.
That's fantastic. I just wish if a lot more education system and educators comes with that mindset and trains the students. I think there can be great opportunities created. I really love that
Correct. Relevant
insight.
education to become kabiliyat.
Yeah. True.
That's just simple as that. Relevant education to be kabiliyat, correct? That's
Yes.
that's 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 the English word.
Fantastic. I think I really love that. And maybe coming on the global recognition part, your certification is recognized worldwide. How does this global recognition help students, especially from the grassroots background that you mentioned? How can they pursue opportunities, maybe let's say in the Europe, in the Premier Leagues, or in the US, where there is like a great system for athletes in the universities.
So basically, as you said, there's two part. One is the US and the Europe. So that's what most of the athletes aim to, right?
Yeah.
To reach
Or
in
maybe
terms.
Japan, because they are the rising.
Japan is also becoming popular of it.
Yeah.
So, one is we help the children curate the subjects in such a way that by default they meet the requirements of NCAA or NAIA, right? Which
Mm.
are the major bodies in US, right, where they get to play the university sports. So, and if you look at football in specific, like so, we have a lot of golfers who have undergone this NCAA process, and they have got recruited in the universities in US, and who are playing for these universities and Division 1 and Division 2. But when it comes to footballers, as we know, though the education system means we stand a disadvantage in terms of selections, because Division 1 and Division 2 alone happens there, and
Yeah.
the scholarships are very limited. So this year they have increased it to 105 in Division 1 scholarships, and Division 2 it's 36. But still, as far as the Indians are concerned, at this point we stand little on a disadvantaged side. But still, we ensure that the credits required to
Mm.
apply for these NCAA scholarships are met, and the children don't stand at a disadvantage in terms of these scholarship procurements. And second is coming to Europe. We know Sweden is one of the popular destinations where Indians are allowed to play for the clubs. So we also ensure that these children meet certain university requirements if they get a chance to play as part of one of the clubs. But we have also found that some go there and play for short term, and they come back. They want to still have their education system back in India, balancing out there. And there are children who really try to drag on with those clubs there. And so we ensure that they get their right admissions, meeting the requirements of the certification. Mahesh, you want to add to?
One is, of course, the National Institute of Open Schooling is basically a phenomenal system which helps students. For example, I'm sure you're also aware, if you look at least in India, um, if you look at the quota where people want to do IIT after 10th for 2 years when they study for the exams, most of them complete through the National Institute of Open Schooling.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
and that is accepted by the most premium institute in this country and of course worldwide. So I think people are not aware that
Yeah.
NIS
Mm.
is a phenomenal board. And earlier in the 90s, of course, the perception was poor because of the various reasons the way it was applied. But the application has got nothing to do with fundamentals. The fundamentals of NIS is strong, is very good, accepted worldwide. But the perception was down because of the way it was utilized, the people who
Yeah.
applied and just to pass, and people took wrong subjects.
Yeah.
They did not get. We don't have a credit system in this country, so people didn't pick up the right subject. And then when you don't do those subjects and you go to college, they'll say, "Nahi, yaar, you've not done this. How can I take you?" Right? So I
Mm.
don't think the structure and fundamental of NIS is wrong. It had its issue, but I think we believe and we strongly recommend that for an athlete who needs to spend at least 8 hours in a day playing out there, and for him 10th and 12th is also important. You cannot get a better board than National Institute of Open Schooling, correct? And it's applicable both for India and And after 12th, of course, he has a choice because let's accept this fact. You finish your 12th right at time, you can do your undergrad any point of time. If you're 25, 28, very difficult for you to do your 12th board. Very
Right.
difficult you come back. The moment you finish your 12th, you have an opportunity to finish your graduation, undergraduation anytime later. Correct? So
Right.
it's very important that athletes focus on their sports, but at the same time, finish their 12th. And we believe that this board is probably the best suited for at least the athletes in this country.
I think I agree with that thought. And I'm sure, since you mentioned that implementation was not done correct, maybe you at ProSedge who can make that implementation much better and bring more success stories. So athletes take that path also. So that's great. Now moving to the new area, which is it looks very great. You tell about such great stories about the process, about the fundamentals of education. But I'm sure there must have been a lot of challenges while you implemented this because I try to also focus on the education part here with few of the kids and the athletes in Mathura, which is also sort of a rural city, not a metro. So I see there are a lot of challenges, and changing the habits, change whether it is an athlete or coach or teacher, it is very extremely difficult. So how did you manage to face those challenges and implement correct solution, and how did you got the drive to implement those in time and come up with such great stories and such great system?
Mahesh, you want to take up or?
Okay. One thing, let's accept the fact that in India, education is very important. Schooling is very important, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's two areas which I feel that people would want a lot of discussion is schooling and health. Correct? Where you go to anything. These are two subjects which are ingrained in a certain. And schooling in our country has been ingrained the way school runs, the school behaves, and the way it is taught. Correct?
yeah,
Right or wrong is not the subject of discussion, but that's how it has been ingrained. And we all know that it was done primarily in the 1832 by Macaulay to build a system to administer this country. So we have a system which is and which is done well. Like today, no other country in the world can get a million engineers as much as we get, or doctors that we get, right? So it is done good and it served the purpose. But in the field of humanities, especially um, including uh, critical thinking in
yeah,
terms of the liberal arts, it has never taken a shape. So it's extremely difficult to change mindsets overnight. It is not
right.
possible, right? And I'm not here to say I'm standing, both of us standing on the top of the pedestal and say I'm going to change the entire education system. That's not what I don't think we come from that background. I'm not here
Yeah,
to actually. All of us are riding on a wave of change to become a change, to become a
absolutely.
wave. Where there is a change happening outside. Correct?
Yeah,
People are realizing there is a need, there is a inherent need. We seem to have taken the first step. That's it. We have taken the first step to ride that wave. Correct? So otherwise, to have some 300 odd kids in a span of 3 years is not an easy subject. Only because education system is as rigid as you can think it can be. But having said, there's a change happening. The sporting industry is growing. The government is helping the sporting world.
yeah,
You see, even at the governmental level, there is a phone call from the prime minister's office to wish somebody,
yeah,
and that change will help us to one day become a sporting nation.
absolutely.
Right? With 140 million population, we are yet to be a sporting nation. Yes, I
Yes,
understand cricket is good. It's by itself. But cricket, of course, can be replicated into other sports. Correct? And so there is a need. First of all, let's accept there is a need, there's a change happening, which we are riding on that wave. And I'm sure this change will help us to become the wave, correct?
Yeah.
And we know that this small uh, peg, what we call a small block of education, if we were to insert into a sporting center, that becomes a sporting school.
Yeah.
That becomes the Gurukul system, correct?
Right.
You put the education peg into that block. I think that's how professionalism will come. That's how you will get professional. So if you look at the fragmented sporting uh, coaching center, over a period of time, the education will make it much more professionalized. And we see the need, we realize the need. Yes, it's not an easy job. I don't think the last 3 years have been easy, but I don't think it's a low hanging fruit subject either.
Yeah.
And I think there is Sanju who sits here who understands the K-12 worldwide. He understands education delivery the best. And he's able to stir this vision through and been able to convert the people who need help. So we really have done that. And I'm sure this is the first step to a 1,000 mile journey for us.
Absolutely. So now sticking to the challenge, maybe one example we can take is the parents. How do you work with them to build the trust, and how do you help them understanding this value, recognizing this value of combining sports and education?
So, just to answer that, Siddharth, so I still remember 4, 5 years back when we spoke to a parent about
Hmm.
when I was leaving a campus for schooling. Like, you need not go to a campus to do schooling, you can do
Right.
schooling wherever you are. And when we spoke about online as a modality of schooling, so all this were like a shocker for
Yeah.
the parenting group because they were hearing something new which nobody spoke to them, and we were getting stares rather than right. So it took some time for us, and also we had been constantly educating the parents, doing a lot of counselings, right? And fortunately, as Mahesh said, a lot of no, the environment around us became conducive with the new education policy coming in and the COVID disrupting the
Yeah.
entire market and the system, where people started to accept online modality of learning. People started to accept, right, things like I need not go to a campus now to do a education and kind of so a lot of mindset change started happening.
Hmm.
And second is over last 10 years, if we see the parenting age also changed. The new
True.
age parents started to come in. The new age parents are quite open towards newer approaches and newer methodologies because they are more informed than right the
Absolutely.
previous
Yeah.
bracket. So it all helped us to some extent, and still the journey was not easy until we showcased the proof of concept, right? So
Right.
end of the day, the thanks to the set of parents who believed in us in the initial days, who took admission with us, who underwent this entire system of education. So to name one, Aryan Rupanand was one of
Hmm.
our first student who is the national champion in golf now,
Oh.
goes around the world. So, so these examples of parents and the children who took up this system, who underwent the entire education cycle, who passed out. So today we have more than 100 students who have passed out of the system and who are part of different colleges, universities, right? Some have gone abroad, as I previously said, with NCAA scholarships. Some of them are doing their law, some of them are doing their sports management, some of them are doing their, so all of them aspiring to come back into the, and some of them are leading the country in different segments of sporting as well, being successful in these segments. So we have somebody in motorsport who represents the country, we have somebody in swimming who represents the country, somebody in cricket who captains the Indian women's team under 19, and kind of, so we have at state level people playing, and those who have succeeded in their sports, and also we have case studies where those who could not make it but still moved ahead with their higher education and trying to come back into the industry. One case study, very interesting case study we had, was a boy from Pune who was pursuing cricket, and during his 12th examination, he had an injury
Hmm.
and had to go back to Pune. And any other board except NIOS, he would not have been able to make his board examination
Right.
being in hometown, right? So
Right.
we could quickly change his exam centers and he could give his board examination. Today he's doing his sports management from IISM
Wow.
Pune. And recently he did his internship, though his cricket got a hit, he did his internship with Mumbai Indians
Wow.
and my show, right? So these are kind of stories we are seeing, and these stories are now helping, the upcoming parenting group to believe in this system, saying that yes, this works. And now our existing parents are our ambassadors who
Yeah.
sell on behalf of us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they are spread across many sporting academies in this country. So they speak about us, and we
Yeah.
get calls from parents who are really looking for such system.
I guess organic marketing is the best.
Organic back is the best, yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
it works best for schooling, especially.
yeah. All right. So maybe one quick advice that you want to give to young footballers and families who are struggling to balance their dreams and with their academic expectations.
Mahesh is the best person to give the advice. Mahesh, yeah.
I always use this phrase that if you want to be a good athlete, remember one thing: either you are a winner or a learner.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah,
If that's the only advice, that you're a winner or a learner,
right,
never lose your self-esteem. This is the mantra, and that is the only thing that will truly make you an asset, not only in sport, but an asset to this country.
absolutely. Even to the world.
To this our country first, and we
Yes,
represent the world now.
absolutely.
We are going to be,
Yeah,
that.
yeah. All right. So I think coming to the partnerships, especially talking about the India Khelo Football, about this particular partnership, what do you see? What do you expect? I mean, you're ex absolutely, you both are working on the grassroots. I have been following their work for some time, understand. I work very closely with them. What are your expectations and how do you partner and make some change, some insights on that?
So we all know India Khelo Football has been a channel which is changing the life of many grassroots children in
Yes,
terms of football, right? So they have been picking talents from the smallest of towns of our country, and they reach the biggest clubs of our nation, and they get to play. They see a change in their life. It's like from trashes to
yeah,
to heaven kind of. So they suddenly get their new kit, they are
yeah,
celebrated, they get to visit countries, play different clubs. So they're doing a phenomenal work in terms of changing the life of these grassroots footballers.
right.
And with football becoming popular day by day in our country, and more aspiring players spread across the country looking for an opportunity. And IKF is a great channel for these children to really reach the destination where they want to. Having said that, the problem of education persists when
Yes,
we it doesn't take few minutes or seconds for them to go back where they are, because it all demands a consistent performance to stay in the position where they are. If a club signs them for 1 year, these children have to consistently perform. So we realize the importance of education, coming as a backup for these children. As I said, they also require a lot of life skills to really achieve what they want to achieve in their
absolutely.
career. So from all those angles is what the Pros Education and IKF partnership has come in, where we want to offer ourselves as a education channel for all these children who are getting talent hunted, and who are going to the next level of their football career. So
Yeah,
where say that we are here. See, along with IKF, Pros Education is here to back you up with your schooling, help you with your education, and required upliftment in your skills to achieve what you want to achieve.
Great.
Couldn't
Fantastic. Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you, Sanju. More is one thing is certain. This partnership, when we look at students from the grassroots,
Yeah.
you know what sports along with education can do is it can actually, however, whatever strata of society they are, especially the bottom end,
Mm.
and what is required in this country is that we have always been subservient in our mind, and that's one of the reasons why we don't have killing instinct, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I'm given to understand that as a country, uh, we always been subservient in terms of our thought process and what it requires to elevating the word poverty or getting out of a class is to bring them back their self-esteem.
True.
And you bring them the self-esteem when they tend to do well in sports and a few clap for having done well helps him to bring their self-esteem up. A little bit of education helps him to get back to the society. That is how, as a nation, that is this sports and education is one of the great tools. And I'm sure a classic example, Orissa is actually working on.
Yeah.
Orissa
Absolutely.
state,
Fantastic.
we respect Orissa as a state for helping people to come out of the grassroots. No better example than that. I think if there is already a classic case, and I'm sure what we are doing will also help one class. So I really appreciate this partnership, and I thank the whole team there for helping us to be with them. And let's all together
Yeah.
work towards this objective that sports is education.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this collaboration and seeing more results. And you talk about self-esteem. I think that's very much required to every young athlete coming from different strata. So thank you very much for this insight. I think one last question, maybe. Uh, for parents who are listening to this podcast, or for young footballers who are footballers or athlete who are listening to this, how can they reach out to Pros Edu? How can they explore your curriculum? What is the best way to reach out and start working on their studies curriculum?
So we are on the web. So our website is there and we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn. So we are quite active
Yeah,
on all the modalities and channels.
yeah,
And we are also having a lot of partnerships and looking at more partnerships to come in. That is also becoming a channel where people get to know about us and reach us. And we have a team of counselors who are always available to pick the call. If somebody reaches out, they can reach out through WhatsApp, they can reach out through, right, any of these
yeah,
channel messages, or they can call up our team. So they are always there, and they're all quite educated, knowledgeable set of people who understands their emotions, they understands the requirement of a sports child, and I'm sure they handle them with a lot of empathy, and do the right counseling required for them to decide right in terms of what is best for them. And yeah, if I have to give a email ID, they can always write to us at
yeah.
enquiry@prosedu.com. So that's our enquiry email, or they can also write to admissions@prosedu.com, where our team will also reach out to them, and they can find the appropriate phone number in our website, and also on all our creatives which we use, which is 96067 49046.
Thank you. So I'll also put this detail on the YouTube description so that they can directly reach out to watching this video, or maybe on the Instagram video as well. We can put these details. Thank you for that. Any final message for our listeners, especially those passionate about grassroots sports, maybe it's football or hockey or any other sport or athletics, and about the holistic development? Any final message?
Sanju?
So maybe Mahesh, you
Yeah,
can.
the one classic message is, I'd mentioned this earlier, that remember that astronomy and sports is truly a humbling and a character building exercise. Correct. As long as we use sports to become an asset, we
Yeah,
become an asset to ourselves and to nation and to the world, and use sports as a medium to progress in life. Correct. Whatever areas of business or verticals that'll help you to reach your destination is extremely important. And I think it's important to realize that as much as one is a passionate sports person, um, you actually grow because of your talent, and you hone your talent um, because of your attitude, your discipline. And that is your first requirement. You have your discipline, you have your attitude, it'll help you to grow your talent. And once your talent grows, you are going to reach your Himalaya, your peak in your life. That's something, a logical way of growing in life.
thank you very much for sharing that insight, and all the work that you are doing to support the next generation of Indian footballers and athletes in this country. And to our listeners, stay tuned for more inspiring stories on the IKF Partners podcast. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.